Well, Ahsoka, Episode 8, Season 1 in the books. Well, I had to say in the beginning of this series, it definitely did not take off well, and it did not end that well. Honestly, I give this about a 6 out of 10. My category, as you well know, if you don't know, I did a video before. I am a Gen X guy growing up with 70s and 80s of Star Wars and watching this from, a passionate side when going to the theaters to see Return of the Jedi. And seeing the Jedi were a couple badasses. And to now kind of see this and look at it and say, oh, it's more like watching a Harry Potter type film. This one it was disappointing. I'm not quite sure from a military background, does it make sense to take a great Jedi and a rewarded, warrior such as Sabine and go after to try and find Ezra and rescue Ezra, but in the meantime risk the chance of Grand Admiral Thrawn, which is a guy who could bring back the Empire? That's not a very good trade-off. So spoiler alert, they virtually just traded off. Ahsoka and Sabine get to stay, and at the same time, Thrawn gets to go back with Ezra. Not a great trade-off. I think it was absolutely terrible, and for Ahsoka to be smiling at the end of this series was kind of saying, hey, you were making a very bad decision. This was a terrible one, and it wasn't a good idea. But whatever it may be. I still find that the characters in it are great. Grand Admiral Thrawn is a great character. I'd love to learn more about him. Ezra seems kind of a mediocre type Jedi, but has a little bit of sense of humor. Sabine, obviously, is what I kind of consider the worthless Robin from Batman and Robin. I mean, she just isn't a good Mandalorian, and she's not a good Jedi. I'm not so sure what the character is good at. Reveiw obviously does a great job, and Baylan and Shen with Ray Stevenson playing, that's a great storyline. And I wish that the series could get picked up just to tell that storyline, because I'd really like to find out what is his purpose on that planet. Why did he stay, and what that character is going to do. And I think Shen's done a great job too. I like her character as well. But with Ray Stevenson passing away, I'm not so sure who they're going to get to replace him. Hopefully, it is kind of a wizardy, big bodybuilding type person. I think it'd be pretty cool to see. Ahsoka, you're obviously going to see her again, probably in Mandalorian, because I think that's the only way you're going to see her. Because I honestly do not think that this will get picked back up. If it does, I'd be surprised. With the writer's block and everything going on, and that they finally just signed, and writers are starting to get back to it. I mean, the story probably will disappear because it's just going to take too long for a backlog of a bunch of other shows to which these writers are writing for that need to get caught back up. Dave Filoni, to me, I don't know much about him, but I will say that if he was the one responsible for Ahsoka, he screwed this one up. This was terribly written. You can't leave a cliffhanger on a series that you're not even sure if it's going to be able to come back, unless you're sitting there trying to tell the story as where is Ahsoka, and where is Grogu, and where is Mando during the movies, the last 3 movies of 7, 8, 9. But unless you're going to take Mando and he's going to go rescue Ahsoka, which they're not that best of friends. So. I wish Jon Favreau kind of did this. I think he would have done it a little bit differently. I'm sure he was a producer, but that's just money given into the studio more than actually writing it. So, man, I tell you, it was a pretty good disappointment. If you look at the Andor and you look at Obi-Wan, these are characters that we know how they end. Obviously Andor from Rogue One, we know, and we know Obi-Wan, what he ends up doing. So you could kind of get away with ending the series like that with those, where Ahsoka we don't know. And to end that like that, to me, was pretty disappointing. So it's going to be hard for, I believe, that this to get a lot of strength to build back up and to see if it takes off. It definitely is not going to be a Mandalorian, but I still like the character of Ahsoka, and I hope that she comes back. And in some case, you can leave Sabine behind, because we don't need a Robin in this series. But again, the Ray Stevenson character, Baylan, I'd like to see how his storyline goes. I think it would be pretty exciting. Well, with that, that's my take on this. Again, I'm a Gen X guy, so I don't watch the cartoons. I just kind of look at to see what the characters are like. I'm not going to get political with what Disney's doing. I just believe in watching good entertainment films, and if I like it, if I don't. If I didn't, I'll share it. If I do, I share that as well. So with that, feel free to subscribe. There's going to be more content to other things that I hope to share throughout watching some other series. So best of luck to everybody.